my go-to girl. Uh,
Amazing.
so when someone wants to learn about EO, it's EO, OA, so many things.
So many acronyms.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually Alex, but Martin will join us as well.
Yeah, nice. I can see, Matt, you've
Hi,
joined.
Matt.
Hi,
Good to see you
Lynn.
again.
Hey Matt, how are you?
Hi.
Good to
Good to
see
see you
you.
again.
Hi, Alexandra.
Hopefully, people join and have their face on as well, right?
Yeah, if
Otherwise,
you're
it'll
in
be
here, turn your faces on.
it's an intimate group. It will feel like a little workshop. So, yeah, have your face on.
Yeah, it's going to be so good.
Nice. Hi, Zoe.
And
Hello,
have
hi.
I know we have a 45-minute time limit because Zoom accounts only allow that. So I said to Kimmy, it's like, do we start on time? Because I
Yeah,
need every
100%. All right, let's rock and roll, I reckon. Matt, do you want to kick off and introduce Lynn? I am recording, so we can, yeah, share this later on. Yeah, I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, it looks like a few folks will join in the next couple of minutes, but great to have the Outsourcing Angel team here. As many of you will know, Outsourcing Angel are one of our latest SAPs in the Queensland chapter. Lynn from Outsourcing Angel will be taking us through this presentation. She's the founder and director of Outsourcing Angel. So we've been thrilled to sort of welcome them into the community here. Lynn is actually an EOer from Sydney from a number of years. So comes with a sort of long background of working in and around EO circles, and really excited to hear, I guess, a little bit more of what Lynn can share with us today. So over to you, Lynn.
All right. Thank you for rock and rolling. Okay, so I know we have a 45-minute session. I will be talking for about 30 or so minutes and leaving that last 15 minutes for you all to ask me any questions. But I think another great way would be, even if you have some questions, type in the chat so you don't forget. And I'll run it through. And then at the end, if we don't have time to ask questions, I'm always going to be here as well. You can talk to me after the webinar. Before I start the presentation, I want to introduce you to Alex. Alex is over there. Maybe put your thumbs up. So Alex is actually my sales consultant or someone that will be talking to anyone that's interested about our business. So I wanted to just have her here so you're familiar with her face as well. All right, let's just rock and roll in though we haven't got all the members here yet. Let me just share my screen. Okay, let me know if you can see it. Oh, okay. You can see the full screen. Yeah. Okay. All right. So today's session, it's really all about how to delegate. I want to show you how to scale not just your business, but your life. Because I've learned now after being in business for over 15 years, if we're not careful at intentionally designing our life and then figure out how we can actually move it forward, not just in our business, we're always going to feel like we're in a rat race, another rat race after we already escaped the corporate rat race, right? And so my goal is to share with you that today. I'm going to make sure that you'll walk away with some practical tips, and I'll even have a bonus PDF that you can take away with you and digest it even further. So what we'll do is I'll introduce a little bit about myself. It's always good to know like how I got into this space. I went from burnout to what I call balance now. Some people don't believe in work-life balance, but I totally believe it's true because I've been able to do that for myself. I'll run you through the 360-degree success framework. This is a unique framework that I figured out how to be happy and fulfilled. And it all came from because I was focused too much on business. And then thirdly, we'll talk into delegation. So real examples of what can we delegate in all those 5 pillars that I will be sharing in that framework. And then just quickly how to work with VAs. It might be simple. Maybe you already know because I don't really know some of your backgrounds, whether you work with VAs yet, but I'll just run it through and you can ask me some questions there too. Okay. Yes, about me, Sydney member, I dive straight in. It's only been 3 years and yet I'm a learning chair, current membership chair, 2 times moderator and host of the EO podcast. I'm always welcoming any guest. If you're not shy and you want to shine your story on your business, reach out and I'm happy to interview you. I even have a podcast studio now. So if you're ever in Sydney, we can even shoot it in person. But I totally love EO very much. Okay, a little bit about me. The reason why I got into this business is I started off being a single mum at the age of 20. So I have a 22-year-old. I'm currently 42. And I quickly realized how much a corporate job cannot help me in my journey as a single mum. There was no flexibility, no freedom. And so I wasn't born an entrepreneur. I just needed that out of necessity. So I had the opportunity to start a nail polish business, had no idea what nail polish was, didn't even like wearing it. But at least it taught me digital marketing and outsourcing because I didn't know what to do with my website and etc. And then I discovered a lot of I guess skill sets and knowledge around that space. And so when I was figuring out what to do, I didn't realize that all the knowledge that I had from that first business became something that I can turn it into a offshore marketing agency. So I knew how to make a business grow through marketing as well as how to find those people. And that's what people wanted to pay me for. And I'm like, oh my God, business doesn't have to be so complicated. And so I've been doing it since 2010. But in a few years after that, I decided to pivot to the model of offshore, I guess, recruitment, more of like an agency where instead of me project managing for you, I'll help you hire the right talent, but I'll also show you how to work with them so that you can, have them grow with you. So that's how Outsourcing Angel was born, and it's what it is today. So currently we have about 100 team members, including our own, as well as clients, team members, mainly from the Philippines, but we also still have some people that have been with me for a long time and they come from all sorts of places. We're completely remote. Even though Alex is in Sydney, we don't see each other that often because we like to be efficient. We do everything virtually, and that's the thing that a lot of our clients appreciate is that we are able to teach them how to actually run a remote team efficiently with tools and systems and just a lot of communication protocols that we've been able to learn over the years. Okay, life wasn't always great, right? We always have mess before we can turn it into a message that we can share with others. I ended up finding a husband and moved to Sydney. I was originally from Melbourne, and then I have 2 more kids. And so I was juggling motherhood as well as a business. And what really got me surprised was that every time I had the goal to achieve a certain income, I get there, I have more team members, I had more projects, and I was just in this rat race. And eventually I even developed a bit of anxiety and I had a panic attack, multiple panic kind of, I wouldn't say attack, but whenever I'm driving, I would get overwhelmed and think that I'm going to have a heart attack or something. And when I started speaking to a life coach, I realized that every time I got pressured at work or feeling like I've got all these things to do in business and not really having that balanced life, it made me that those symptoms existed because of that pressure. And so I started to rework my whole life and redesign it on, figure out what is success and what does happiness mean. And that kind of took me on a journey, which I'll share with you later on. So life right now, these are true photos. They're not stock images and they're not modeled up for it. But like the photo of me in fitness gear is last week. My friends took me as a birthday surprise, took me to a spin class because they know I love fitness. We work out a lot online together. This is me in Coachella, still acting like a single girl because I believe in self-care and being able to make time for yourself. It became my goal to also take my parents, my in-laws away every single year, put a lot of effort in my family. And so I do believe that even though we all have 24 hours in a day, if we know how to delegate and build a team around us, we can truly live a life a lot more intentional and we end up being happy and fulfilled, which is what we had set ourselves to do. We believe that business was going to give us that, but it doesn't give us that unless we work on the 360. Do yell out if you're messaging me something and I can't see because I'm not seeing the chat, all right? Okay, so how did I come about in this 360-degree angle? I actually got asked from a few EO Melbourne people. They saw my social media and then they asked me, how do you create freedom? And I'm like, oh, do you want to learn outsourcing or something? Or is it like VAs that you want to learn? They're like, no, actually, we do know how to hire people and then create that space. But then we quickly fill that space with more work, more projects, and we just keep procrastinating our life and we don't have time. And so I started speaking in the last 18 months. And because of that I was able to go, okay, how did I, so I re-engineer or went backwards and go, what did I do? And this is what I'm going to show you in terms of what I discovered for myself. So this is it. This is my model that I'm about to launch a book about too, which is called the 360-degree success framework. it looks like, sorry, the circle, it's this life experience. So we often know that business is important. We need time, we need financial freedom. But did you know that if you don't put effort in all the other areas, there's always going to be a hole in your life, in your heart. So what it is you need empowered connection. Empowered connection is all about community and contribution. So friendship, business contacts, people in EO. And it's about nurturing that relationship. Life experiences. We love holidays, right? Vacations, hobbies. So those are the important things that we do. But we also need to think about doing it intentionally, not like, oh, I better take my kids away. It's something I need to do, but it's something that you want to do. So it's all about setting the intention. And then we also have family balance, right? Your relationship as well as your kids, and self-mastery, working on your mind, working on your body, so health and fitness, and working on your soul, your spirituality. Because when we don't, this is what's happening. 1 in 3 entrepreneurs experience anxiety. 72% feel overwhelmed regularly. And the important stat to know is that, there's a research that says over 75,000 US dollars a year of income. After that, when you make more money, you actually don't feel that much happier. And why is it that I still have entrepreneur friends that are on $60 million revenue and are on their path to 100 million, while their partners are complaining that they're not present at home, or they're always traveling so much? And I've learned that it's because we still have a lot of undealt trauma. There is lack of clarity in what does success mean for us. We have a lot of bad or inconsistent habit in order to build that life. And often we still have that kind of negative mindset, or not knowing how to deal with pressure, and having calm techniques in order to deal with life in general. Oh, thanks. Okay. So what are those areas? Financial freedom is time and financial, as I mentioned. Oh yeah, I talked about this already. Okay. So delegation supports all of these areas. So what I'm going to show you in the next few slides are only some 2 or 3 items that you can do. You can outsource, delegate to your existing team, or to hire new people. These are the things that I do with my offshore team. And I'm going to give you a bonus PDF that's going to give you a lot more ideas. So let's just start off with business freedom. This is about delegating to scale. You want to shift from becoming from a doer to a delegator. So you're always asking yourself, what are the most impactful work that I should be doing, and then delegate the rest. And you don't do it once, you do it again and again. This is why I love doing reflection. I journal daily, monthly, quarterly, yearly, because I'm always asking myself, what's draining me? What am I working on that's repeatedly? So what I delegate is email inbox, calendar, meeting preparation. So these are some of the tools that we use, or my VAs use, in order to schedule appointments for me. And often VAs are interpreted as someone that is just an admin assistant, someone that's just going to follow the exact instruction. But no, they are also very specialized in things like editing podcasts. So this is the EO Business podcast that I mentioned. It's completely produced by our offshore team. And we even automate it, and all the sequences come from the VAs, and I don't have to touch anything. The only thing I have to do is kind of just rock up to the interview. They can help you with sales support, creating proposals, send LinkedIn messages, follow up. And, we even have the time to be able to, when there's a referral comes through, we even have time to actually email every single person to thank them for the referral. And that's because of the offshore resources that we have. Now, pillar number 2 is about empowered connection. So how do we delegate relationship building? I want to spend my time being on the having lunch, having that coffee, rather than all the in-between things. So my VAs would also organize birthday gifts, thank you gifts, follow-ups. We were also sending physical cards. So I would often I take a photo with someone that I meet, and I send it to my offshore VA, and then she'll upload it to a card printing service, and then it gets printed, and people would be like, wow, thank you so much. It's those little things that we do that makes a difference. And yeah, once again, people appreciate when we say, thank you for sending the referral, even though it hasn't turned to a lead yet, a client yet, but we just want to say thank you. And those are the things that we do. It's little detail, but people really do notice. So they also research and find podcast guests for me. When I was a learning chair, they would look on LinkedIn and go, "Hey, I think this is a really great speaker for you." And yeah, they book cafes, catch ups with my clients and with friends. When it comes to your self-mastery, so this is your time to be able to spend it on your self-development, your mindset, your body, your soul. And obviously they can't do that for you, right? You got to go to the gym and work out. But what they can do is support you. And what I like is I like to set some boundaries. I tell my VAs that I don't want to work before 9, or I want to work only up until 3 p.m. before pickup. And I don't want to work on the school holidays unless it's urgent. I'm preloading all these tasks on Notion, which is a project management tool that we use. And I use Loom to like record tasks, and then they get it done while I'm busy working out or doing things that I love. And that is how you support your self-mastery pillar. And yeah, family balance, we know what that is about delegating home life. And so, my husband, he's got a team of 100. He's got 2 co-founders. He's always telling me that, don't worry, one day when I grow my business this size, or when I move to this factory, that I'll have time to take you on that date, or, book this event. And it's always someday. And so I realized that, as entrepreneurs, we need to set that intention. We need to ask ourselves, how often do we want to spend time with our partner? How often do we want to spend time with our family? And in what frequency, and what do we want to do? And then once we have that, I guess, rule, we assign it to our team member to organize the restaurant, organize the gifts for each other, for our family. Life experiences. If you're an EO, you probably already love adventures and creating memories. But because I have VAs, I'm able to also create vlogs, so I can actually watch the videos. I always shoot it while I'm out and about with my family, but then it's being able to capture that memory and then, uploading it so our family can actually watch it. And they also help me to research holiday destinations and yeah, organize events for me. So how do you actually start delegating? You audit your tasks, and as I mentioned, you want to keep auditing. As you get better, as you're leveling up, you also want your VAs to level up as well. And the second point is really important. You look at those 5 pillars of your life and you actually define, what does success look like? What does a 10 mean for you? For me, I started to ask myself, like, what does it mean to be a good wife? What does it mean to be a good mum? And I started to work out that it means that I will, spend X amount of time with this person or go somewhere with this person. It has to be more defined. Often we say we want to be more present, we want to be more, loving. But what does that actually mean? And you define that clearly. And then you look at where you are right now. If you're not spending any time with nurturing your relationship with anyone, you might rate yourself as a 2. And then you look between the 2 and the 10 and you go, what is the next thing that I can do in the next 30 days that's going to move the needle, that's going to move me forward? And then it usually comes down to some tasks. It's like, research this. If you're thinking about taking care of your health, it's, okay, I need to research the closest gym and blah, blah, blah around fitness. And then you can assign those things to your existing team or hire for support. If you work with a remote team, you might already know this, but this is basically how to delegate the task to your VA. So we use Loom because it allows you to kind of screen shot the video while you're talking through the screen. I also love sending like a voice message on the WhatsApp, and just basically whenever you can use your video or use your voice, is a lot more easier for them to understand. And then you assign the task to them. When you assign the task, you would use tools. Hang on, that's down there. I talk about the leverage tools there. But overall, if the task is more complicated, you would want to have them sit in the meetings with you. So back in the days, I used to say, I'm the best recruiter. How am I supposed to delegate recruiting? And I quickly realized that everything is systematic. And as long as you can, I guess, do it once and have someone watch you, everything can be taught. And so what I did was I just got my existing VA who used to be helping me with supervising the team on another project. I said, can you please sit in the meetings with me where I'm interviewing clients or I'm interviewing our VAs? and then watch what I do. And then she would watch, we'll document the process, and then I in turn would shadow her and watch it back. And then eventually she just became a pro. And then she eventually just taught the same process to other people. And if you want to work with remote teams, it's all about leveraging tool, using a project management tool. I know EO, they often use Monday, a tool like that. Whereas we use Notion at the moment, and then we keep everything, all the SOPs and everything into a centralized database. And it's important to use a communication tool. WhatsApp might be good for quick little updates or follow up, but it's not good for proper team management. So Google Chats or Slack is a lot better. And remember that feedback and long-term trust is important. So often people hire a VA or an offshore person thinking that I'm just going to use them like short term. If it doesn't work, then I'll just get rid of them. But that's when we don't get to gain the benefit of a loyal team member that really knows us inside out. And so nowadays I don't have to give 100% instruction. I can give 10%, and my teammate would already know what I'm talking about. So this is Karina and Cedar, who are my EAs or VAs, or, they have different skill set like marketing. So often we say VA, but people go, oh, are they just limited to EA work? No, but Karina is really great at marketing. I have Cedar, who's very good with, I guess, administration. So that's why I like to keep two around, because it allows me to access their strength. And they've been around with me for over 10 years. So 2012 is Karina and Cedar's 2019. Okay, so I'm not sure if you have your phone there, but you can actually scan this barcode. But if you can't scan the barcode, I can send this PDF to Kimmy, and Kimmy can send it to you guys. And what you're going to be getting is literally 25 ideas under each of the pillars for you to really walk away and go, how can I move my life forward, right? And I think after today, if you pick one or two things from each pillar, your wife is going to be happier, your husband's going to be happier, your kids will be happier, because you're finally setting some goals around other areas of life. Because in life, unfortunately, or as entrepreneurs, we care so much about having a business plan. We put a lot of planning and reflection on our business, but rarely do we actually sit there and plan our life and intentionally set these goals for our life. And these goals are broken down into really just these tasks. And so if we can find a way to delegate these tasks to someone more cheaper, more ready to, help, our life is going to be more happier and fulfilled. So that is all. I wanted to be, short so that I will allow you to ask any questions you have. And I know everyone's probably at different stages of hiring VAs or never hired them before. So I'll leave the stage to you to ask me questions. Anyone have any questions?
Feel free to jump off mute, anyone who wants to ask a question, as opposed to putting it in the chat.
I can jump in. Thanks, Lynn, for that. Super interesting to think about how broad the application of VAs and outsourcing could be. And it sort of makes a lot of sense to sort of systematize before you hand over. But I'm curious, from your experience, given the breadth, how many VAs you have? Like, do you have one super VA who does all this for you, or do you have an army of VAs in the background who all do?
So for me personally,
yeah, and what you've seen from others who are applying it across so many different domains.
Yeah, so the two VAs that I mentioned is Karina and Cedar, for example. Now, Karina and Cedar also not just support me, but support a few team members. So what we like to do is when you work with someone, you start to identify their strength, and you want to apply that strength to the areas of your business. So Cedar, even though she's very introverted, she actually lives in Singapore, but I found that she's very attention to detail. And so she's really good at the intricacy thing. I'm like, hey, I just met this person. Could you please organize a meeting here and there? And then she'll be very good at going, hey, on Lynn, you just said that you're not taking meetings around this time. So she's very good at being organized and kind of pulling me up when I'm not following my, I guess, balance rule, for example. On the other hand, Karina is very creative. So she tends to not excel when I give her some admin task, or like, can you book this person, or can you do these kind of just follow up or email someone. So she'll tend to kind of it's not her passion, so she'll forget it more. But if I tell her, can you please design this proposal? So we only actually locked this event in not long ago, right, Kimmy? Like maybe a week or two ago, and a week I think, and then and then we kind of came up with a topic, and what I did was I just draft up some text content in a text form, and I sent it to Karina, and she just whipped it up on Canva for me. I cannot design in Canva. Canva is made for non-technical people, but I cannot design. It's really hard for me, and I would spend hours just figuring things out. And then with her, she's just really quick at whipping it up. But it's also because she's been working with me for a long time that she kind of knows which assets to pull in together, right? And so it's just if you're hiring someone new, just be patient, teach them and give them a chance to work on different projects. Eventually they'll be able to just go, you talk about fitness here, I know exactly where to pull those photos from where. So that's two for me. But when I got busy with the podcast and all those other things, I got an assistant for Karina. So even though Karina can design and can do basic editing, we knew that the podcast was going to get more busy. And so we've got a marketing assistant that works under Karina, and she's just a gun at all the technical work. And I love that because then I don't have to worry about training the next level down. I'm just passing the task to Karina, and Karina just knows to do some of herself or assign it to the next person.
That's so great. Thank you so much for sharing those with us. Ben, you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. That was very insightful. I kind of have a little bit of a two-part question. So we currently have a VA who's handling a lot of front desk duties. So we're a healthcare business. We get a lot of call volumes. And I think one of the things that we're struggling to balance is that because call volume is a difficult thing to necessarily systemize because the nature of calls could be very different and you could get 1,000 queries and the way that they approach it is very different. So the two-part question is that how do you do you need to systemize absolutely everything in the instance of things like, being a receptionist? Because again, it's like you could write a manual that has 100 pages, but that doesn't seem appropriate. And then the second part of that question is, how do we balance our VAs kind of getting overwhelmed? Because we are starting to feel like we're probably throwing too much on her because she's got both, phone inquiries to manage as well as internal inquiries on emails and stuff.
Yeah. I get you. So whenever you're hiring anyone new, I always feel like start slow and get them used to one task before you throw another task. And this is a great reminder because I had a cleaner for a long time. She's been with me for like 6 years. She's been cleaning my old house. But when I moved to the new house, I really needed some time to kind of just understand what I want to do with my house first, right? And when I got her back into clean my house, I just got her focused on laundry. I said, just do laundry well, because she doesn't know where to put my clothes away, which wardrobe, and that is already, I guess, new enough. So in that week, I remember just feeling like this is exactly how I even do it online with a VA. It's like, what is a task that I can do that is, low risk? So when someone goes, oh, I want to hire someone that's going to do, client facing calls, I'm like, all right, slow down first. I know that we're going to hire you someone that's already experienced and skilled and they can do that job. But what is it that you can do to test them in terms of even their ability to communicate with you, to pick up the task, to understand, things that aren't higher risk, and then you kind of build on that. So often when we hire for right now we're going through a recruitment for one of my mentoring clients, and I just said, as part of the interview, let's just get them to audit your business and just give them some ideas, right? That's not a task that we have in mind, but it's still a task that allows us to see their skill set. So whatever thing that you're hiring, break that down into a smaller task and then go do this well first. Same as when they're trying to email on your behalf, right? You don't want them start taking over your inbox and start emailing people. You go, watch my email. So what I normally do is I CC them in all the emails, and so they can start to see who's who and how I'm emailing. And then once they understand, I go, okay, with that email that I'm supposed to reply, can you draft up what you think you would say? And then I check it and it's done. And like after that, you just feel like, yep, you're all good. Go ahead. Right. And so you just build on that slowly. So that kind of answers around the overwhelm and building it. What was the other question, Ben? The first one was
So
SOP.
the other question around kind of the complexities of, like we said, if you're going to be a front desk receptionist, you get a high volume of phone calls, but that phone call could be anything and everything. So even people just calling the wrong place or whatever, it feels a little bit. And again, I'd love your insight, but it feels quite pedantic to document every single. How do you respond to this query? How do you respond to that query? When there's so many miscellaneous queries that probably hard to document as well.
Yeah. I think for things like that, it's really just about giving them the FAQs or knowledge source of what your business is. If you're hiring someone, they should be savvy enough to know how to navigate and say the right, say the best thing that they would know, but then also know that if they don't know something, they can ask for help, right? I don't think it's one of those things you can document every single thing, but when it comes to systemizing and having everything ready for someone, I always feel like you're just a few steps ahead. You don't have to feel like you've literally systemize and have every process there, and then you go and hire someone. When I'm busy with something, I know that I need to offload. Then I would just offload that particular task, put it in the project management tool. As they're doing that, I'm thinking about what else I'm going to, use a Loom video to record to give them the next instruction of things. So as long as and this is why you might think I'm crazy, but I wake up at 3 a.m. And it's something that I've been doing for the last 5-6 years. And I did that because I went from 5 a.m., 4 a.m. and I fell in love with that morning clarity and having that time to yourself where you can really feel like you're working on your life and your business. So in the morning, my brain is so sharp, I'm so clear, and I've got a million different, I guess, tasks that I want to do, and I set it all up into my project management tool. So then during the day when the team comes online, I'm busy working out while they're working on it. And so we all have 24 hours in a day, but it's about how do we actually manage our energy, not just time as well. And so I find that in the morning, I'm so clear, something that might take me 2 hours during the day takes me 15 minutes to think about. And so that's why I wake up early, I do all that. So during the day, I do more things that don't require my brain cells too much. And then, I always have all this backlog. And that's why a project manager tool is so great to help prioritize as well. Because you might give them tasks, but if you don't tell them when it's due, if it's urgent, and you also got to be, reasonable and don't say everything is due tomorrow, right? And so I know it's tempting. And back in the days, I used to just put tasks in and just say tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. But then we also train our VAs to come back to the client and go, here are all my tasks. What's more important to you now? And so we exist because sometimes clients it's a miscommunication. It's like a relationship. I fight with my husband all the time. It's because of the communication. And even being married for 14 years, still communication issue, let alone working with a new offshore person that is not familiar with your working style yet or what you're expecting. And so we are teaching them as much as we're teaching the client so that they can bridge that gap of communication. I hope that, yeah.
I have a question for you, Lynn.
Yes.
You mentioned Notion. You've landed on that, obviously, as your project management. We currently use Monday, and we're merging into HubSpot. But how did you land with Notion? Because I've heard mixed reports about it. How did you land there?
Yeah.
And what do you love about it?
Okay, so what we love about Notion is it's so versatile and you're able to create any type of workspace or database. So for example, we used to have, so other than project management tool that you think Monday's project management and you think Notion can just create a project management. But other than project management, for example, I have we do everything in there. So we have a weekly huddle sheet, which we built in Notion, where every Monday, every week, all our team members are asked to fill out these columns, and we're able to create those columns ourselves, whatever we want to ask. And those columns, and this is really great for remote teams, I ask them, rate 1 to 10 how their week was last week, or 1 to 5 stars. Why did you rate that? What did you achieve last week? What's your priority? What's your challenge? Whatever it is, right? So I'm able to create that in Notion. Within there, we've created our whole client database. Even though we have HubSpot, we want to manipulate the data more, and you can integrate Notion, zap it, using that automation tool to go from that tool to that tool. So basically it's a lot more versatile in there. So we use everything from creating SOPs in there through to reporting. Have you ever played with Notion, Kimmy? Okay,
Not
so
too much. I've heard about it. A girlfriend of
so,
mine raves about it, but
yeah.
yeah, she's in
So
a
personally, myself, because I remember I'm not technical and I can't even use Canva. But because Notion, people kind of create their own templates. Once I got so curious, I actually downloaded a wardrobe organizer. So it's literally a database of your wardrobe. And so all I did was just took photos of all my clothes and I thought this is going to be cool. And as girls, we buy all these clothes, but we never know what to wear. And so I literally took photos and you can create fields like, what winter, summer, size, whatever it is. And I now have a wardrobe organizer. Yeah, if I show you, it'll look really funny.
That's
You'll be
brilliant.
laughing at it. I'm like, and then,
And then do you go as far as like assigning an outfit to an event in your calendar?
well, not that far yet, but at the time I was using it, and then now, yeah, I've stopped using it too much. But for example, I create my own journal entry. I make my own columns. I'm like, I track my kindness. I track what I give. I just get to track whatever. So it's just a lot more flexible to be able to, um, yeah. Let me see what I can find that is interesting. I'll just share screen.
Does anyone else have any questions? Well, we're off topic a little.
So, like Notion, it's like you can just kind of create tabs and pictures and then you open up one. So like for example, this is me and my families, me and the kids, we're doing a 7-day discipline challenge. And see, this is what it looks like. You can kind of like make stuff. And then it has like a marketplace where you can download the template and they can just customize it. And so how it works is like if you're typing something, you can then um, turn it into, do you want to turn it into bullet point, call out quotes? And so it's like it's not words, but it's not a developer. It's in between where you can throw templates. So that's why it's really, really good.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions?
All right.
Question
Yes.
if I'm allowed.
Who's that?
Just taking up question time. With offshore admin, I know a lot of companies that currently offer offshore admin as full-time only. Is there any issues with like going with those customers, like those administration companies that do part-times or full-times, or is the preference always to hire full-time because then you can grow them into something, or is it sort of because it does seem when I've looked into a lot of different VA options, a lot of them are full-time only is the only option you have.
Yeah, I'll get Alex to talk so you can hear from Alex as well. It's just like she's not just a pretty face there, but Alex, do you want to just answer that because you talk to people that wants different things?
Yeah, sure. So generally, I would say this the split of our client base mostly go with full time, and a lot of people that start part time, they want to grow their VAs into full time positions. So what we find is a percentage of people will go from part time to full time, and that's because you want your VA to grow with you. And as Lynn said, you start off small, but then you're kind of hiring them for the future, not just for right now. So expanding their skill set over time, and they grow with the company and generally they do end up not only being full time, but staying with the company for multiple years.
Yeah. And it's always good to have more than one support because often they could get sick and everything is with them and then you're left having to pick up all the pieces. So if you're going to go for full time, you might even consider doing two part-time or a full-time and a part-time. But once again, it depends on the skill set that you need. I like to break it down. If someone's really creative, like imagine getting them to just focus on that, then trying to do a lot of these extra little admin tasks that then is a waste of their creative ability. Nathan looks like he's got his.
Yeah, I was going to ask a question. First of all, thank you so much for everything you've shared. I just wanted to ask about productivity. I've got a few VAs in the Philippines, a couple who are like true VAs slash accountants, and then two architects. How do you manage or know that they're being productive? Because generally my go-to is just giving them a certain workload and then kind of expecting that that's roughly 40 hours a week worth of work. But there's always the consideration and risk that, they might not fill 40 hours of their time with that work, particularly with the area of project-based work. Like there are routine responsibilities that are easy to manage, but then there's, with their extra time, they could be doing projects that are one-off things that move the company forward in some way. And I always feel like and suspect that, their productivity is more like around 70%. And if they were really productive, I could be getting them to do a lot more projects for me. So I guess a bit of an open-ended one about how you manage productivity, as well as any specific feedback on the points I've mentioned, would be helpful.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, I always make sure I have a lot of projects and tasks going on. And it reminds me of, it's like, they say how powerful ChatGPT is, how good you are at prompting and how you use it, right? And so if like today I've given you 100 different ways to utilize someone to delegate and live a better life, right? And you start giving it to them, and you'll be able to gauge the how quickly they do something. Like I hired this girl, she was so quick at designing me a book cover and book that I'm like, oh my God, you're like a superwoman, like even beyond a typical VA that I've ever hired, right? And that's just her. But once you work with them and you know yourself too, you kind of have your own standard of output over time with whatever you're doing. But it always comes down to how organized are you? That's why I like to wake up early and have my own time and really, what do I want? And I have so much things to do and things that is going to actually move the needle. And I've had time to actually audit my task, offload it. But when we're waking up and we're reactive, then everyone is just busy doing the thing. And then they're just busy, doing whatever task that you've been giving them to do. So I guess the short answer is I've never had to like time track them. I've always looked at the output. And if they're communicating, proactively going, is there any other task for me? Yeah, that's actually what you should look out for. So the ones that are good are the ones that are like, hey, I've nearly finished, and they communicate and tell you where it's at, and I'm about to finish by then. And what would you like me to do next? And then proactively go, can I help you with that? Or can I help you with this?
Yeah, I usually have a lot of tasks on their plate already, but it's more like, how do I make sure that they're actually doing them at a good speed, I suppose. Often they'll end up with a backlog of projects to work on. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any advice on generally just kind of like having them be efficient and productive? But I guess just kind of reviewing what they're getting done in a day, in a week, and giving them feedback.
Do they do daily reports? Do they update weekly? Do you have meetings weekly? Like, is there some sort of...
Yeah, we do a daily report that just like lists what they got done for the day, and then same for the week. I guess maybe it's just me being diligent to review that and gauge how productive I feel they've been. There's not much else I can do, I suppose.
Yeah. So when you're starting new, you could always get them to kind of write down what they're working on, how long they've taken to do something, right? And you can track that. And over time, once the trust is built and things just get done, you don't really need to look at that. But
yeah, sure,
it's always good at the beginning.
Yeah, sure. That's good. Thanks for that one.
I'm just flagging that we have like maybe 1 minute left. Thank you so much, Matt. I don't know if you want to do an outro, if you're happy for me to do it, whatever.
No, I think that's great, Lynn. Thanks so much. We're looking forward to dipping into your book when that gets released and seeing you up here in Brisbane shortly. I think we're lining up perhaps you to do something else on the side of one of our accelerator days in the new year. So it'd be great to have you up in Queensland soon.
Also, awesome. Thank you so much, Matt. Thanks, everybody. And I'll make sure I'll send the PDF to Kimmy. Thanks, Kimmy. I was so nervous not finishing in 45 minutes, but
You're so welcome. Hey, absolutely smashed it. I've already downloaded the PDF. I've got your back.
Okay, good.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.